The digital universe is so dynamic that we thought we'd give it a second module to dig a little deeper and take a closer look at some of the key manifestations of how our everyday practices in terms of television viewing and other similar practices are being affected. If you look at yourselves, for example, the way you've been watching television over the last few weeks, the last few months, it's significantly different from the way you were watching it as a kid. We're no longer spending our viewing time with our family. You go to your room, you probably flip open your laptop, and you watch one of your favorite series in consecutive manners, in the sense that you probably download 5 or 6 different episodes of the same series. This is what we call binge watching. And this whole thing came about with Netflix. When it first released House of Cards, it was a first in the history of television whereby, let's call it a broadcaster, would make available the entire season at 8 o'clock Friday night, and a lot of people watched the entire season over that same weekend. So this notion of binge watching now is part of our vocabulary, and it's influencing a number of strategies in the media world. Also this notion of cord cutting that we addressed in the previous module, whereby people find that there's just so much material available online for free that they don't see any valid reason to stay with their cable caster, and therefore cut the cord and save themselves $50, $75 a month. And of course also the notion of multi-screen viewing, which is extremely prevalent in our era, whereby you watch a show, you start a show on the TV screen, continue the second segment on your laptop or your iPad or your mobile phone. This notion of being surrounded by digital screens is again impacting on the way television producers and providers are developing their business strategies. Everybody in the industry recognizes the huge impact that Netflix is having. Clearly, the Canadian broadcasters, the major guys, aren't rolling over and looking at the parade passing by. We've organized sort of an answer to Netflix in the shape of services as Show Me from Rogers and Shaw, Bell Media's Crave Television, Videotron's Illico, Radio-Canada's 2TV, very similar services to Netflix, but with a very strong component of Canadian content. So that, I think, will have to be played out over the next few years and see if Netflix is being impacted by those. Also, we're going to be taking a very, what I consider, entertaining look at a legal confrontation between a senior executive for Netflix and the president of the CRTC in terms of the legal void that Netflix has taken advantage of and the way the CRTC reacts to this void and would like to regulate or at least see a better commitment from Netflix in terms of Canadian contribution. So in a nutshell, we're going to be taking another closer look at some of the dominant changes and dominant trends currently impacting our industry and taking sort of a forecasting look to the future because you're the makers of that future.